hearing tonight. We're going to start, it was supposed to be at 5:30, so I'd like to keep that on schedule a little bit if we could. So we'll call the meeting to order at 5:39 PM. Here comes one of our legislators. Okay, so the meeting is called to order. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Mr. Bailey? Here. Mr. Cassell? Here. Mr. Choquette? Here. Mr. Fiacco? Here. Mr. Fleming? Here. Mr. Genrin? Here. Mr. Grant? Present. Mr. Grimm? Mr. Harrington? Present. Ms. Kennedy? Here. Okay. Mr. Leverage? Here. Mr. Maloney? Here. Ms. Nichols? Here. Mr. Patiri? Here. Mr. Stahl? Here. Ms. Weaver? Here. Mr. Wysocki? Here. Mr. Zalewski? Here. Chairwoman Hoffman?
Here.
And Mr. Grimm is now in attendance, so we have 19 present.
Mr. Harrington?
Madam Chairwoman, I move that the legislature resolve itself into a committee of the whole for the purpose of conducting a public hearing.
Hearing no objections, I hereby appoint Legislator Tom Choquette, Chair of the Legislative Committee on Planning and Tourism, to conduct this public hearing.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The clerk will read the notice, public hearing, and enter the affidavits of publication into the record.
The Rensselaer County Legislature will hold a public hearing to discuss proposed applications to be submitted to the New York State Office of Homes and Community Renewal, HCR, for 2024 Economic Development Community Development Block Grant, CDBG, in accordance with 24 CFR 570.486, New York State Citizens Participation Plan, and in compliance with the requirements of the Housing and Community Development Act of 1974 as amended. The CDBG Grant Program is administered by New York State Office of Community Renewal, ORC, and will make available to eligible local governments approximately $20 million for the 2024 program year for housing, economic development, public facilities, public infrastructure, and planning activities, with the principal purpose of benefiting low to moderate income persons. The hearing will provide further information about CDBG program and will allow the citizens' participation in the development of any proposed grant applications and/or to provide technical assistance to develop alternate proposals. Comments on the CDBG grant program or proposed projects will be received at this time. The public hearing will be held in the chambers of the Rensselaer County Legislature located at the County Office Building, 99 Troy Road, East Greenbush, New York, on Tuesday, May 14, 2024 at 5:30 p.m. to explain state regulations, review program activities, and receive citizens' comments on the program's administration. All citizens are urged to attend and participate in the public hearing. Those requiring physical or lingual assistance to attend should contact 518-270-2914.
Okay, the public hearing to discuss the Community Development Block Grant, known as CDBG, applications for the 2024 program year is now open. Do we have a list of names, or was there anything? Okay. The rules of the chair are as follows. First, anyone wishing to speak at this public hearing must sign in at the table at the entrance of the legislative chambers. When you are called upon to speak, please move quickly to the microphone and state your name and address for the record. Are there any questions? At this time, is there anyone wishing to speak? Linda Binderheide?
Linda Bonderheide, Principal Planner in Rensselaer County Economic Development and Planning, living in Brunswick. This public hearing has been called to support the application for Community Development Block Grant funds from the New York State Office of Community Renewal. The New York State Citizen Participation Plan for the Community Development Block Grant, or CBDG program, requires 2 public hearings, one prior to application and one when a funded grant is primarily expended. There are 3 different CBDG applications that can be applied for: public infrastructure and facilities, housing, and economic development. The applications for public infrastructure and facilities and housing were published yesterday with a deadline of July 31st. The economic development grants have an open deadline. New York State's Community Development Block Grant objectives are: support a mix of rehabilitation and conversion activities to preserve and increase affordable housing for homeowners and renters, encourage investment in communities by assisting local governments in devising and implementing economic development strategies to revitalize viable communities and provide economic opportunities that principally benefit low and moderate income persons, revitalize the vibrancy of New York's communities and enhance the quality of life, and develop and implement strategies that facilitate the coordination of CBDG funding with other federal, state, and community development resources. CBDG eligible applicants include non-entitlement villages, towns, cities, or counties, which are cities, towns, and villages with populations under 50,000 and counties with populations under 200,000. Although the city of Troy's population occasionally dips below 50,000, Troy is an entitlement city and receives a large portion of funds directly from HUD. CBDG funds can be used for housing rehabilitation and infrastructure in support of existing housing, such as well and septic replacement and lateral connections that primarily benefit low and moderate income persons, as well as assistance to for-profit businesses to help them expand or retain employment opportunities for low and moderate income individuals. Additionally, CBDG funds can be used for public facilities and infrastructure that supports primarily low and moderate income individuals and households. Low income is considered 50% or lower of the region's median income, adjusted for household size. Moderate income is considered 50 to 80% of the region's median income, adjusted for household size. For example, a 4-person household can make up to $58,900 to be considered a low-income household, and up to $94,250 to be considered moderate income. Counties can apply for up to $1 million in housing and public facilities funding and up to $750,000 in economic development funding. The Office of Community Renewal has set aside $50 million for housing and $25 million for public facilities and infrastructure. Ineligible activities include expenses for the general conduct of government or for the operation, maintenance, and repair of public facilities used in the general conduct of government. At this time, we are considering continuing the septic replacement program for the Nassau Lake neighborhood, which works with the DEC-funded Nassau Lake Septic Replacement Program. The program would pay for the entire replacement of septic systems in the Nassau Lake neighborhood if a household is low or moderate income. Housing rehabilitation in the Nassau Lake area, as well as countywide outside of Troy, is also a possibility. At this point, we do not have a business for an economic development application, but we are also considering a micro business assistance grant application for small existing and startup businesses. Any other ideas can also be entertained at this time. Are there any questions? Well, thank you very much.
Thank you, Linda. Is there anyone wishing to speak on this proposal? Is there anyone wishing to speak on this proposal? One last time, is there anyone wishing to speak on this proposal? Okay, hearing none, and as much as all persons present were given the opportunity to speak and discuss the Community Development Block Grant, known as CDBG, applications for the 2024 program year, and no one else desires to speak, I declare this public hearing closed at, I think we have that number, 5:49. Thank you for your participation.